Before we get started, do me a favor and smash that like button. I'd appreciate it. Good morning, LT.
Good morning, Teddy. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good. The sun is shining.
Well, we got a little bit of an overcast, but it's going to be a beautiful day.
I love days like that, I tell you.
Right.
I tell you, the sea of red out there this morning.
Oh, yeah. I had listened to the video this morning, and a few people started replying, and of course, nobody likes to get up and see that, Theta's down another 11%, and so it's just mind-boggling, really. But this is the kind of thing that we've seen before, especially in the crypto markets. It's just last time this happened, in 2020, 2019 going into 2020, Bitcoin had gone down. A lot of the coins had gone in 2018, 2019 from, Bitcoin been up to like almost 20,000 and went back down to just under 4,000, and kind of rode there in that lower level for quite a while. Well, Theta at that time wasn't out there. So this is the first time we've gone through this type of downturn in the Theta, with Theta. But let's look at the past to kind of think about, well, where might we go in the future, and what's the, what might happen. So just in looking at this and thinking about it, what is Theta, and has something happened with the platform in particular? Are they going down separate from everybody else? Are they going down about the same? So I just went over and did a look. First off, I start, my overall view is, well, where are the bigger markets going? What are they doing? Well, if you look at the bigger markets, the Dow Jones, the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ being the one that's really tech heavy, if we take a look at those, we can see the NASDAQ's down 2.3% this morning before the markets open. The S&P's down 1.7% this morning. The Dow futures are down 1.3 this morning. And other markets that are already open, such as the DAX or the FTSE, they're down 1.5%, almost 2%. Anyway, we shouldn't expect that crypto is going to be different from other broader markets in the way they move. And a lot of people have made a lot of money in the cryptos. And so whenever they see the broader markets going down, they see the opportunity to go ahead and sell, get out early, take some profits, and wait for things to go down, and then buy back in. And then it typically will go back up. And that's a part of how you make money in cryptos, or in any market, really. But with cryptos being tech, and Theta is a tech company. That's what it is. It's all about tech. It's all about the internet, the new internet, Web3. It's all about, peer-to-peer video transfer. So Theta is a tech company. And if we look at the broader tech companies, like I said, NASDAQ, it's down over 2%. It's down more percentage-wise than the S&P or the Dow. So it's not, I think it's part of what's going to happen. As the S&P and the NASDAQ trend down, and they're in a bear market, then we're going to see cryptos trend down. And so that one of the next things I look at after I look at the broad markets, the big markets, then I look at the crypto markets, and I use an app that it just makes it easy to look at all the coins and the whole crypto market, which is CoinMarketCap. And so I look at that, and you get this list of all these different tokens, all these different coins. And as you go down through that list, you can see this one's down 9%, that one's down 7%, this one's down 8%, that one's down 7%, here's another one down 8%, here's one down 11%, and it's Decentraland. Hey, guess what? Decentraland is a metaverse coin or token that is mana, that is, a tech play. It's down 11%. Theta is down 10.7% tech play. So you start looking at these different tokens out there that are essentially doing the same thing that Theta's doing, or in the same realm as Theta, as far as what they're trying to accomplish. They're down about the same amount. What does that tell me? It tells me that they're just all moving together. And so,
which is normal.
Then I go over to, go ahead.
I said, which is normal, pretty much.
Exactly. And so, I mean, that's the, you hate seeing it do this, but it's what happens. It's just a part of the market. It's just to single Theta out directly and say, why is Theta going down? Well, it's going down because they're all going down. And we'd love to see them just go up, but that's not reality. And as you and I have talked about before, when it goes down, and I'm not rooting for it to go down, you understand, but when it goes down, it's an opportunity. If you still believe in the company, if you believed in the project when it was 68 cents, and there are people who had bought T-Fuel at 68 cents. There's people who bought Theta at $15.90 at their highs. If you believed in it when it was at that price, wow, believe in it now. And look how much more you can purchase with the same amount of dollars or whatever currency you use to purchase it. You can get a whole lot more today. And just going on history tells us this is, a big sell-off for whatever reason. Probably people are selling their assets that are making money or have made them money to cover their shorts where they're losing money. So
yeah,
when the broader markets are selling off.
Can you say margin call?
Yeah, exactly. Or they get margin called on, different people have different reasons for doing things, and I might not agree with them, but there's quite a number of people who have used their other crypto assets, maybe their Bitcoin, their Ethereum, whatever, put it into a DeFi project, borrowed money from against that, and then use that to buy into altcoins. And now, whenever those Ethereum and Bitcoin go down, they hit a certain amount of percentage drop. They have to, they get margin called. They have to pay that loan back at least to a certain percentage. So what do? You sell some of the other things and raise the capital to pay off that margin call, so that you can keep the asset. In this case, maybe it's Bitcoin, so you can keep that asset and not have it sold out from under you. And that's the other reason why these markets go down, is that it's a spiral where if somebody had bought Bitcoin, say when it was up above 40,000, they think, man, it's never going below 40 again. It was up at 42 or 45 here just recently. And so they bought Bitcoin, they put it into a DeFi project where they were able to use it as collateral to borrow money to go buy more things that they think are going up. And people are talking about altcoins are going up. Well, Theta is an altcoin as well as many others, and so they might go buy an altcoin and be able to leverage their Bitcoin for some altcoin. And but now Bitcoin's gone from over 40,000 down to we're getting close to 30. We're about 32, I think, right now. Let me look up. Got it up. 32.8. As it goes down, they start getting margin called. It's like, man, I've got to sell something because I don't want to sell my Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So
a lot of it's because of the leveraged trading that people do.
That's exactly right. And there's money to be made doing leverage trading, but you can also lose a lot of money very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Doing leverage trading. And that's not a position I choose to put myself in.
Yeah, me either.
And so I just don't do that. But there are the people that do. And so, this is what's going on right now, and this could last a while longer. I'd been gathering up, I said this before on the video we had last week or whenever it was. As things are going down, I'm looking for more capital that I can put into the market and buy more of the things that I like. And, we bought more Bitcoin last night, bought more Litecoin last night. And today I'm looking for more money that I can put into the market. I plan on buying more T-Fuel and maybe more Theta. One of the things I'm doing right now is getting my portfolio ready for the next DeFi project from Gpool, and that is the possibility we're going to have a wrapped Theta and be able to have a liquidity pool with Theta and T-bill. And I keep hearing them talk about that or watching them, reading that on Discord about a wrap Theta coming soon and being able to use your Theta or a wrap Theta to go into a liquidity pool with T-bill. So, I've been buying over the last week and a half. I've been buying more Theta, not just T-Fuel. I have bought more T-Fuel, but I've been buying more Theta because I want to have a portfolio ready to go into the liquidity pool with T-bill. This morning I was reading through the Twitter, all the people on Twitter that I follow. I try to follow about everybody that has anything to do with Theta and read through their post. There are a few people that are very negative and negative about Theta and T-bill and the Gpool folks. As I read their post, I see a problem with their argument in that they're arguing from a position of ignorance. And you can tell by what they're saying. They're ignorant about how things work. They're ignorant about what it is. And I'm not saying they're stupid. Ignorant is different. Ignorant is they just don't have the knowledge, right? They're just not informed. But they feel the need to let everybody know their opinion.
Yeah.
So they get on there and they make statements and say things that creates fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Yep.
To other people who follow them or read them, and this fear, uncertainty, and doubt then tends to grow, which, somebody that doesn't know really with the project will say, oh no, this is terrible, and they go and sell as well, which also creates more downward selling pressure.
Yeah.
which then creates an opportunity for those who do know or understand it better, maybe, they have a higher level of trust in the project. And for those people that have that higher level of trust, understand history, understand what's going on, it's called an opportunity. And so that's what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
Is trying to figure out how to pull a few dollars out of a different area and put it into this. Why? Because this is down.
Yep.
And whenever things go down for no apparent reason, and that the Theta network itself just had some great news come out with the partnership with Sony. Samsung just came out. I haven't listened to it yet, but there's a video or audio or something. I just saw it on Twitter. I haven't had a chance to get over and check it out yet. But Samsung just released some information about their project, their NFT project with Theta and the Theta Drop platform. It got retweeted by Mitch Liu, and so the CEO of Theta. So, I'm going to assume it's positive, and that Mitch Liu is, pushing it out there for everybody to see. So I'm going to go over and check that out as soon as we get off this call, and see what Samsung, CEO has to say about the Theta project and the Theta NFT drop, and how it's going for them. So, I don't find any bad information. Oh, they missed this, or they didn't. They being Theta, didn't. The Theta Labs team did not accomplish something they set out to do, or one of the things they did went bad or didn't work right. I've not seen any of that. The only thing I've seen is people, crying about the price going down. Well, that's what happens when you have a market sell-off. Prices go down.
Well, the people need to understand, that if they zoom out and take a look at the crypto market or the stock market, any market, if they zoom out, it, the price graph resembles a roller coaster. You've got these
Yeah.
peaks, and then zoom, it goes down and it drops like crazy, and that's the crypto market. You've got to
Well, it's
realize.
also the stock market.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to realize that nothing goes up forever. It's always going to come down eventually. And when you get into a project like Theta, or any other for that matter, you need to really do your homework and make your decisions from a solid understanding of what's going on. We won't go into the details, but we know somebody that made a decision recently based on ignorance, and not stupidity, but ignorance, and it cost them a lot of money. And it's unfortunate, but that's what happens when you make decisions without doing your homework and really understanding what you're making the decision about.
Right. And I said last week, whenever the prices go down, I'm looking to buy more. I'm looking to accumulate more, and I did.
Yep.
And they're down again this week, and again I'm looking for some dollars I can put into this and buy more. And this might not be the bottom. I don't know. Nobody knows where the bottom's going to be. If we knew exactly where the bottom was going to be, of course we would just wait until it hits the bottom, and then we say, "Oh, that's the bottom. Now I'm going to purchase." Yep. I don't know when or where that is. So it's called, a true, dollar cost averaging is just buying at certain time intervals, not really caring about what the price is, whether the price is going down or the price is going up. And so I'd say I do somewhat of a modified dollar cost averaging, in that when it's going down, I tend to buy more than when it's going up. And so that's kind of the way I do it. It's going down right now. That just means I need to get more funds into it. and doing a little bit at a time as it's going down. And if it starts going up, that's fine too. I will be putting more into it. Um, Once I see it going on a tear, going up a lot, then I will pull back or stop buying, because um,
The faster it goes up,
I've
the more the more
the
that
more
it's
likely it's
eventually
got to
going to
come back down.
crash. Yeah.
Right.
A slow
So
climb. I'd much rather have a slow climb than a fast climb.
for sure, and pullbacks are normal. They're needed. It washes out those that are weak, or those that can't take the stress of the pullback.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's a part of all markets. And this is a pullback, but it's not just a pullback in theta or a pullback in the crypto markets. This is a pullback in the broader markets,
Oh yeah.
the Dow, the S&P, the Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq being key because the Nasdaq is primarily made up of tech companies. So theta being a tech company, it's going to follow other tech companies in its overall um, price action. So
These prices
that's
are a gift. That's the way I
that's the
see
way I
it.
see it.
Yep.
I'm trying to take advantage of it. So uh, it's unfortunate if people need to sell right now because of whatever reason. But if you need to sell right now, then you're, of course, uh, probably losing some money, and nobody wants to lose money. But if you don't need to sell, if you don't need the funds that are in there, well, you haven't lost anything.
Right.
If you look at the number of T fuel you had, you still have the same number.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I used to well, I still do. I kid my brother because he the way he seems to operate is buy high, sell low, and
Well,
the
that's not unusual.
yeah,
That's what most people are.
and
That's really
the reason that happens to him is because he'll take money that give you a good example that happened a few years back. He had some money that was earmarked for traveling to Canada to see his girlfriend at the time, and it was 6 months out, and so he went and bought some silver with it. And then when the time came where he actually needed to purchase those tickets and so forth, silver was low,
yeah.
and so he ended up taking a loss because he I don't put money into something that I'm going to need later, and because that's just simply a bad move. You might get lucky, but odds are you're going to be forced to sell at a inopportune time, and you'll lose money in the process.
Right. Yep.
That's why you don't
So
put your rent money or your mortgage money into an investment thinking you're going to be able to turn it around real quick. You might get lucky, but if you don't, you're in big trouble. You're homeless on the streets.
right. So yeah, it's so that's what really hurts is those who must sell right now.
Yep.
And so again, it's I said I'm trying to find money, but I'm trying to find like money that's not my rent money or my mortgage money, and um, so greed is something we need to make sure we keep in check. And when things are going up and you're seeing those numbers climb, you tend to get greedy and maybe put more in that you shouldn't, and then all of a sudden things turn around and start coming down, and then you have negative outcomes. So
Yep. Greed can make you money, but it can also hurt you. It can,
yeah,
because you're making decisions based on the greed instead of realizing that you should limit the money you put into any investment, you know, as money that you're not going to need at any time in the future. You know.
Right. I've stated, told you guys in the past. I work for a person that's in um, traditional banking, finance kind of thing, and he's told me directly. He said, "Don't put anything into the market that you can't lose, because if you can lose it, you're not going to be hurt as bad as if you put something in there you can't lose. And if you can't lose it and you lost it, it really hurts." And so I've followed that advice. He's done very well in life, and has a lot of good ideas, information, has a very good skill set that has managed to make him very wealthy, and that's great. Uh, he's worked very hard, and he's still working. He doesn't have to, but he does. Um, and I'm sure, days like today, he gets up and looks at the market and goes, well, this went down, but that's going up. And everywhere there's a downturn, there's also somewhere else that they're making money, and you just have to be in the right place. So somebody that's a good trader, that's a good has a good understanding of the market, knows how to position themselves for either way or any way that the market's moving.
Yep.
And
you know what you're doing. You can make money when the market's going up, and you can make it when it's going down too.
Right. So, but then that's a matter of timing, to be in the right spot. Well, that takes doing that full time, sitting there watching that all the time. Somebody that's just coming in and doing it occasionally going to have a real hard time figuring out how to time the market, when to move out of this asset or into that one. So, I have other interest in my life other than sitting watching a market tick up or down, and so I've tried not to time the market. That's not my.
Yeah, and
That's not my thing.
I'd be willing to bet you that the guy that owns the airplane that you fly does not have nothing but up days.
Well, I've seen him, and I know that's true. And I've, of course, flown him on and been around him on days when the market's up, and I've been around him on days when the market's down. Same demeanor, same person. He's not cussing and carrying on. It's not affecting him emotionally, at least that I can tell. He, same person. He's expecting certain things to happen. Like we all do, we set up a framework in our mind about what we think is going to happen. And, he's been in it long enough. He's done it long enough that a down day is not going to affect him negatively. So there's been times I've said, I wonder why he's not upset. Well, I don't know what he's invested in. Could be he's not upset because he invested in the stuff that's going up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looked like a down day to me.
People that do that for a living, when they're good at it, they they know how to position themselves so that down days don't affect their entire portfolio, because they're spread out in different things, and that comes from experience.
Yeah. You and I both follow Rob on Digital Asset News.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of the things he says over and over and over again. So time in the market is more important than timing the market. And I believe he's right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just time in the market. Just invest and stay.
I've been in Theta since it first appeared on the Ethereum network as a token, back when the Theta token was the only token. We've got 3 different ones now, but I have not sold a single bit of any of my Theta. I have swapped sometimes, one direction or the other, but I have not sold it at all.
Right.
because I'm in it for the long haul. I know where it's going to go eventually. I don't know when it's going to get there, but I know it's going to get there. I believe that Theta is going to be $1,000 or more eventually. And
Right.
every day that I see the different things that they're doing, I'm more convinced than I was the day before that it
Mm-hmm.
will, be $1,000 or more token someday. Because they're laying the foundation right now, and they're still laying the foundation. When they
Yeah.
start building on that foundation, it's going to be a very good, solid foundation. And I prefer them to concentrate on the foundation, because if you don't concentrate on a good foundation, then you build that skyscraper, that thing's destined to come crashing down because you didn't put the
There's,
time into the foundation. And that's what the Theta
yeah.
team is doing.
There's a tower over in Italy that's leaning.
Yeah.
Has been for centuries now,
Yep.
but they've got all kinds of cables and supports out there and all kinds of things trying to keep that thing up. But it wasn't built on a good foundation,
Yep.
and
Engineering
so
has gotten a lot better since they built that sucker, but back then,
right,
they didn't realize that, here's this good foundation, or so they think, but they didn't take into consideration the fact that as they put more weight on that foundation and build upward, that foundation at some point is no longer going to be a good foundation.
right, and that's that actually is the along that line is actually one of the reasons I really like Theta is that the from everything I hear from Mitch Liu or Jay Long or Wes Levitt, they they really are not concerned about the price.
No.
They're really concerned about the project
Yep.
and about building a project that has a great foundation that is going to be a project that can be sustainable for decades and decades, and that's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
And so,
Their technology is extremely good. Unfortunately their public relations leaves a lot to be desired, as
yeah,
you often hear me refer to the Theta No News feed. But I'll tell you what, I
right,
have every bit of faith in the technology that they're working on. So I have to
exactly,
forgive them for their lack of public relations, but I know enough about the project and what they're doing to, allow for that and keep my Theta and keep getting more as I can.
right. And you know, I, you or I, we can't be so knowledgeable to know the inner workings and the things going on at Theta Labs and the exact way things are put together or the way the blockchain's built and the coding and all that kind of thing. That's way too technical for us lay people
Yeah.
who are just observing from a distance and reading everything we can find. But still, it's not something. Even if we had all the technical stuff about it, we wouldn't understand it because we don't have that background. But what I look at is, well, certainly the folks at Sony understand it. They have engineers. They have all those people who understand what's going on at Theta Labs. Certainly folks at Samsung understand it. They understand the engineering behind it. They understand how the blockchain is built, and these are just two. Google, another one. Uh, these are just two or three of the big mega corporations that are out there that have bought into Theta and the technology that Theta's building.
Oh yeah.
And so that gives me. I mean, I don't need to go and try to understand the engineering of the project. I can look and see who else is backing the project and go, they understand the engineering and they're backing the project,
Yeah.
which tells me
Or they wouldn't be
it's a great
putting
project.
millions of dollars into the project. If it, I hear
Yeah.
people complain, about Theta's, they're they're focusing too much on NFTs, and it's like, excuse me, have you looked at where NFTs have taken us over the last year?
Yeah, yeah. You know, they only came out with Web 3.0, where they opened their Theta Drop platform and came up with the whole T Drop coin, and then told everybody about it, about how staking your Theta is going to earn you some T Drop, and set out that whole plan just last June.
Yeah, yeah. And
so we haven't been a year yet. It's like, wow, things are going swimmingly. They're meeting every target that they've put out there.
yeah,
So, I mean, I say that, and somebody's going to say, no, they didn't. 3.0 was supposed to come out in April, and it didn't come out till June. Well, okay. But that's because things are changing so much that they figured out in April that they needed to hold 3.0 till June so they could incorporate NFTs.
Yep.
NFTs were so new. They saw that as, wow, this is going to be really something that's going to grow and go. Well, look what it's done.
Oh yeah, look at
NFTs
look at T-bill and the use of NFTs
Yeah.
for the multipliers. Which,
Yeah.
by the way, you sent me an email. I think it was yesterday. Said somebody did it.
Mhm.
Somebody
They
actually
did it.
got a 4x multiplier minted. And go into that a little bit as to how you read that. What that means.
Well, it's a 4x multiplier that has a 10 million T-bill capacity. And so when you stop and break that down, you go, well, that means somebody with a lot of money is going to take at least 10 million T-bill, which means, and if we kind of assume T-bill's $1 or, about $1.09 per T-bill, means we're going to need it. So it's going to be over $10 million worth of T-bill. So that'll be like 10 and a half million T-bill. And then the equivalent amount of T-fuel in order to fill the capacity of that. So you're talking about $21 million to invest into the project, into the liquidity pool, in order to fill the capacity of that. And Crazy for Crypto's Digital Dave this morning or last night sometime posted in Twitter that it probably cost this individual, whoever it is, over $2 million to make that NFT.
Oh yeah, to acquire
that NFT.
Yeah, because there's no way they won one of each of the
Well, I don't
five.
know.
I mean,
we just
the
don't
odds
know
of that
how much.
are so close to
Yeah.
impossible. So they had to. They maybe. They might have won two of them, but I guarantee you they had to go out and buy the other three in order to be able to mint that, and that was not cheap.
Right. So anyway, yeah, exactly. Who knows what they spent, because we truly would never know unless they divulge it somehow.
Well, Digital Dave did say in a video just the other day that the one of those 2 million capacity multipliers sold for over $400,000.
Right.
The very first one that appeared sold for $216,000, and the one that Digital Dave mentioned sold for over $400,000. So somebody with a lot of money put in to be able to acquire one just so they could mint that 4x. Why would somebody want a 4x? Well, guess what? It's going to make them a lot of money.
And you think about what a 4x is. That's a 4x on their T-bill
Right.
side of the liquidity pool,
Right.
And so that is actually just winds up being a total of a 2x on the total liquidity pool of what they have in the liquidity pool. Just like a 2x multiplier makes our total APR 75%, right? So a 4x makes the total APR double. So they're going to invest to fill up that NFT with T-bill, 10 million T-bill. They'll need to be putting in at least $20 million in T-fuel and T-bill. And then they'll be earning the capacity of $40 million per year.
Oh yeah. So
APR.
that is a harbinger of things to come. The fact that somebody was willing to spend that kind of money just to mint a 4x 10 million multiplier like that, they wouldn't do that if there wasn't going to be a lot of money coming into the liquidity pool so that they can get a return on their investment. So, this liquidity pool is going to grow.
I'm seeing it as a great opportunity.
Oh yeah.
But let's dig through this a little bit more.
Okay.
In this 4x and what that actually means. So they're going to be doubling their investment annually, which means it's going to require that they're going to sell or trade probably half of their T-bill for T-fuel, which is going to require more T-fuel to come into the pool, because that's
well, they're going to have to buy. They're going to have to buy a lot of T-fuel in order for them to be able to split it and get the T-bill.
Well, that's
that's going to be
get into
that's going to be a driver.
But I'm talking about once they have it in, right? Just like right now, if they have, or like us, we every night I swap the T-bill that I earned throughout the day. I swap half of my T-bill for T-fuel, and then roll that back in so I can compound what I'm going to earn overall.
Yep.
And of course, they're going to do the same thing, which means every night there's going to be half of their T-fuel going into the half of their T-bill being swapped for T-fuel to put it back into the liquidity pool. And that's going to cause there to be more and more T-fuel needed to cover the amount of T-bill that they have.
And there's a finite amount of T-fuel available.
Mm-hmm.
How big would have you ever done the analysis as to how big does the liquidity pool have to grow before we are bumping up against the maximum amount of available T-fuel? Because that's coming one day. I really do think it is. And
T-fuel does have an inflationary aspect to it. 9 or 9.5% per year. T-fuel does. More T-fuel is made.
Yep, but every time
year.
There's a transaction, there's some T-fuel being burned.
That's right. They've already done that math. It's about 600,000 transactions daily, I think.
Yeah.
We have that many transactions daily, then we will get enough burned that it's going to offset any new that's made. And if we go over that
it'll become
number of transactions, then it becomes deflationary. So that could really create a ramp up in price of T-fuel.
Yep.
And the reason we focus on the price of T-fuel is because that is where the price of T-bill is derived. It's from the price of T-fuel. So anyway, we'll with these big multipliers coming in, I expect that what we're going to see is new DeFi projects coming through maybe that DTheta Phi. There's another new DeFi project that's was a part of the hackathon that's coming in. We're going to see opportunities for for new people that are finding Theta, they're finding the Theta ecosystem and the T-bill ecosystem and the DeFi project with Gpool, that they're going to go see that and say, man, I want to get in. How do I get a 2x multiplier? And 2x multipliers are going to be unattainable, right? They're going to be so expensive because who's going to let go of their 2x multiplier?
Yeah.
I'm not letting go of mine. You know,
Yep.
you're not going to let go of yours. At some point, they become way out of reach for the average person to be able to get a 2x multiplier. So you'll just wait. You'll get in, wait for a year for you to mint your own 2x multiplier. And so that's okay. But that there are going to be DeFi projects set up where you can join that DeFi project and have use of the 2x multiplier in that DeFi project. So that DThetaFi, that's what they're doing through NFTs, and to allow people to utilize the 2x multipliers that they've acquired in their pool, and allow people to join their pool to so I think that's what we're going to see. I don't the people that are got these large mega multipliers, what they do with those is their business. I don't know if they're going to set up something or not, but I certainly see opportunity there, you know.
Yeah.
That's a way for them to set that up and then split proceeds. Say,
Yeah.
if you come out with a true 2x and you just split 50-50, whoever has that 2x is going to make 100% on somebody else's money.
Oh yeah. And by the way, something that I wanted to mention here that I ran across. There's I think it's called the D Tracker, where you can go in, or maybe it's the NFT.
Yeah,
No, it's the NFT one. And if you go in there and look at the, I looked at the Teddy B 2 million capacity multipliers, of which there were a total of 8. And it showed that I think it was one of them showed it went to a burn wallet, and I thought, well, what's going on there? Well, when somebody merges two of those NFTs together to create a 3x, then the the multipliers that were merged are burned. So when that 3x comes into existence, two of those 2 million capacities end up being burned as a result of that. And there were 2 of those 3x's last time I looked that were created. So out of a total of 40 of the 2 million capacity 2x multipliers with 2 3x's, that means there were 4 of those 2 million capacities burned. And then add to that when the 1 4x multiplier was created, that resulted in another 5 of those 2 million capacity multipliers being burned. So out of a total of 40 that were minted and given out to people that won them, there's at least 9 of them that are gone. They don't exist anymore because they were merged into the 2 3x's and 1 4x. And we may see yet one more 4x. Who knows? It's possible.
Right.
So those 2 million capacity 2x multipliers, there was only going to be 40 of them to begin with, and now we know there's only 31 of them left.
Right.
So they're even more rare.
Yeah, that's almost 25%, right?
Oh.
If we put it in percentage terms, that's almost 25% have been burned of those mega multipliers. So.
Oh yeah, and I think that we're going to see. My guess is we've only seen 2 of the 3x's created so far, and it takes 2 of those 2 million capacity multipliers to create a 3x. And I'd be willing to bet you that we're probably going to see another 4 or 5 of the 3x multipliers minted. And I think that there's a good possibility we may see at least one more of the 4x multipliers minted. So
Right.
that makes those 2x 2 million capacity multipliers even more rare.
And, the reason that these things are fetching the price that they're fetching is because um, that's a good Southern term for all those that don't know it. Fetching.
Yeah, that's like that other term for the South called Molinar. You know what that means?
Molinar?
Yeah,
No.
yeah. That's when you get pulled over in the South and the sheriff walks up to your car and says, "I clocked you doing 70 mile an hour."
Molinar.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's a Southern term, man.
There you go. So anyway, these NFTs are they work on in a T-bill liquidity pool. We have other liquidity pools coming out. Those with Wrap Theta we've already talked about. USDC, we know they're still working on that. And DGuard's AMA that he put out, AMA01, he put that out last week. They're still working on coming up with how they're going to do the USDC T-bill liquidity pool. And as we've talked about before, the USDC T-bill liquidity pool has the potential of being 10 times the size of the T-Fuel T-bill liquidity pool. So that's huge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And just this past week, I've helped a few guys get through the process of getting into the liquidity pool, and then through the process of a few days of them earning some APR, and then how do they roll that back in? And so, and these are people that are well educated. They understand traditional finance. They understand things. They're smart. They're smart about money and that kind of thing. They're getting into the liquidity pool. They're learning what it is, how it works. They're asking all the questions that you would expect somebody to ask in order to become educated about liquidity pool. And it's not easy for them. We have a system set up that's very hard to get into. It's very hard to understand without somebody just feeding the information to them. So once that just means it's hard for it to grow. It's hard for it to grow because it's a difficult process.
Yep. Well, you know what?
So why haven't we seen the growth? Why haven't we seen exponential growth? Because it's too difficult for most people. Most people that I've talked to, and I've talked to them about buying cryptos or that kind of thing, just them buying, say, Bitcoin or Doge is too difficult. I don't know. And they'll just throw their hands up and shake their head, and they'll go, I just put my money over here. It's too difficult. They don't want to go through the process. So, if we can make it easier, that would be the way to get more people into it.
Well, we will make it easier in time, but let me point out to you the fact that you've heard the term OG. Well, OG
Right.
is refers to somebody who's been in it a while, and those people are people who pushed through the difficulty and got in.
Right.
They're the ones that had the opportunity to then buy into Theta when it was mere pennies, and that's
Right.
why they're doing as well as they are, because they pushed through those difficulties.
I'll share my first experience with Theta. Theta was 7 cents, and Bix Weir, Road to Ruta, he is jumping up and down every single day, hollering about how you gotta get into Theta. And I finally thought, okay, I'm gonna figure out how to get into Theta, and I tried, and I I didn't do something right, and it didn't the whole swap thing didn't happen the way it should. I'd done something wrong, and so I didn't get the Theta tokens at 7 cents because it didn't finalize. The transaction did not finalize, and so I didn't think too much about it. I didn't really follow up. I was kind of just reading, how do you do this? I don't know. I was looking on YouTube for a channel that might give me some more information than you got to buy it. Okay, well, I tried. That didn't work. I needed a video. I needed somebody to help walk me through it, and I didn't find it. And then, I kind of forgot about it. And then after a few weeks, actually, several weeks, I said, I got to figure this out. I got money set out. This is stupid. I'm not following through with this, and I need to do that. So I went back. I sent some emails. I did a few different things, found some more videos to watch, and finally figured out how to make the transaction go through and got my Theta. But I got it at 25 cents instead of 7 cents. Well, I missed a 3X because it was too hard, because I gave up. And, I'm glad I went on through the process and figured it out. But I missed a 3X because I gave up.
Yeah. Well, my wife and I planned on buying Bitcoin when it was only $900. We had the money set aside. We were going to buy 2 Bitcoin, $1,800. But because I had an issue with trying to get my Coinbase account set up, I ended up not getting those 2 Bitcoin. And, I eventually did get my Coinbase thing set up. But, I missed, by the time I did get in, Bitcoin had gone up, 4 or 5 times that price that I could have gotten in at had I pushed through, so
yep.
If you can't figure it out, you got to find somebody who has figured it out that'll help you along, and that's part of what I do, with my channel, is to try and make videos to help people to understand the various things that they need to do in the crypto market,
Yep. So, of course, anybody that's listening to us right now, they've pushed through. They've understood that this is difficult. But somebody that's maybe listening to this in the future says, hey, go listen to this guy, Teddy B.
Yep.
He might be able to help you. Maybe we can be encouragement to help somebody know that they need to just keep push through. So.
Yep, that's what you got to do. You got to overcome the frustration, and if you get too frustrated, step back, but don't walk away. Step back, take some breaths, and then come back at it, a day later, come back at it, because very often, as a software engineer for over 35 years, I have lost count of the number of times that I was trying to solve some kind of a problem, and I would finally, say, I'm going home, and I'd go home, and then, in the middle of the night, I would wake up and sit up in bed and go, this is the answer. Right. And, it just came to me, and so I'd go back in and I'd start coding, and, the problem solved. But sometimes you just gotta step back and take a breath or 3.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I stuck with it, and I went back into it, and I figured it out. It's been a life-changing experience for me. It's one that I would hope that others would do. I'm still recommending to friends and family, hey, get into this. I still believe in it.
By the way, we're at 1 hour, and we're going to keep on going. I may have to break this into a couple of videos, but I want to keep going because I think we're covering some interesting things here. So, And, if you've got the time to keep going, let's just keep going.
I think we've kind of exhausted the whole. What area do you think we should keep going to?
Well, there's one area that I've got in mind, and that is you touched on it about the coming USDC T-bill liquidity pool.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. You touched on it. You said that pool has the potential to be 10 times the size of the current liquidity pool with T-bill T-fuel. And the thing to keep in mind is the fact that the way the T-bill token is designed as a rebasing coin, the supply can be expanded infinitely based on the need. So and the way it's designed, if when they get that USDC up and running, if that's going to be 10 times the size, that means the T-bill supply has got to be expanded tenfold. So what does that mean? That means that however many T-bill you have in your wallet, let's say you've got 1,000, okay, and you're just sitting back there cooling your jets, and then they turn the switch and turn on the USDC liquidity pool. In order to handle the amount of T-bill that's going to be needed in that liquidity pool, they're going to have to expand the supply, and everybody that has T-bill benefits from the expansion of the supply. So if you've got 1,000 when they turn that switch, in very short order, you're going to find yourself with 10 times what you had before as a result of the expansive rebase that's going to be needed to support the new liquidity pool. So that 1,000 T-bill you have will turn into 11,000.
Right.
And it costs you nothing, and they're all going to be worth $1.09 plus or minus. So you want to get as much T-bill as you can get your hands on before they turn the switch and turn on that liquidity pool, because there's going to be a huge benefit to those people that already have a bunch of T-bill when they turn that liquidity pool on.
Yes, we have talked about that before, and I think you're exactly right, and that is the bigger picture, that folks that are looking at the downturn right now today. I mean, said I helped some guys get into the liquidity pool just this last week, and of course they got in on a day that had a contracting rebase. And so, the next day their total value locked was less than what it was today, and or the day that they got in. And that's no fun. People look at that and go, wait a minute, my value went down. I said, yeah, but did you get your APR last night? Well, yeah, I got the APR. I said, okay, that's you're going to get that every night. And whether the total value locked went down or not doesn't really matter. I mean, when the total value lock goes down, of course, your 50% APR is going to be less than it was the day before, because your total value lock yesterday was a little more than it is today. But you're going to, like last night, we get the ratio went to over 9 to 1 T-fuel to T-bill. And so I'm looking at that going, man, I need more T-bill to convert into T-fuel, because the ratio is so high. This is how you stack up more T-fuel, and then at some point in the future, if the project stays going, which that's the three risk is that somebody turns off the internet, somebody shuts down all the validator nodes, the theta validator nodes, or the price of T-fuel goes to zero, which T-fuel is required for the network to work, so and things to move. So the price of T-fuel is not going to zero. Validators aren't going to shut down their nodes, and the internet, if it gets shut off, we have much bigger problems. Your traditional banking is not going to work if the internet shuts off. So, I mean, much bigger problems. So anyway,
Well,
that's so with what you're saying. I don't mean to cut you off there, but with what you're saying about the USDC T-bill liquidity pool being opened up, and we know that T-bill gets its price from T-fuel. That's where the price comes from. So for the T-bill needed to produce, to be able to pair with the USDC, it's going to require more T-fuel coming into the pool.
T-bill.
And that price, no, T-fuel, because they'll have to have the T-fuel to produce the T-bill, and then that T-bill will be used in the USDC pairing, which is going.
Saying, yeah.
And so this pool's going to drive up the need for more T-bill, and that's why we have rebasing. But it's also going to drive up T-fuel because more T-fuel has to come in to pair with that T-bill.
Yeah.
And so the reality is we don't have enough T-fuel today.
No.
There's not enough T-fuel.
No.
And that's so when you can buy T-fuel at 10 cents where it is right now, I'm looking for ways to buy more.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm looking for, because there's not enough of it. I know there's not enough of it. They get this other pool going. There's not enough T-fuel to handle the influx of the USDC and getting more T-bill.
Yep.
I said this before, that I believe T-bill will drive the price of T-fuel up, and that's what I mean by that is more T-bill is going to be demanded, which means more T-fuel is going to be demanded. I mean more T-fuel will be demanded, therefore driving the price of T-fuel up. So,
well, I'm sitting here looking at the amount of T-bill that I have in the LP right now, and it says 98,314. So let's just round it up to 100,000, okay? Because it's close.
Right.
All right. Now, if they turn the switch on the USDC pool, and the result is that the amount of T-bill that will need to exist in order to support that new pool is tenfold increase. You know, right now I'm sitting on essentially $100,000 worth of T-bill, and the minute they turn that switch, or shortly after they turn that switch, that tenfold increase means that I'll be sitting on $1 million worth of T-bill.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And the equivalent amount of T-fuel.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It has to be the equivalent amount of T-fuel in dollar terms, which means either 10 times the amount of T-fuel has to come in, or the price of T-fuel has to go up 10x.
Yeah.
Right?
So that would be from today at 10-cent T-fuel. If it has to go up 10x, that would be $1 T-fuel. Right.
And so that's why I keep talking about this ratio between T-fuel and T-bill, and right now it's 9-to-1. If T-fuel goes up to $1, great. But what's the ratio between T-bill and T-fuel at that point? It's 1-to-1. And so every night when you roll your APR over to, send half of your T-bill in and swap it for T-fuel, you're going to get 1-to-1, not 9-to-1.
Yeah.
And so you'll be getting less T-fuel per day And so your amount or number of T fuel is going to grow at a much smaller pace than what it's growing right now, which is why I'm looking at this going, this is a great time to be getting into this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling my friends, I'm telling my family, I'm helping them as best I can to take advantage of what I see as an opportunity that's coming. And it's not just a small one. It's a huge opportunity. So
Yep.
T-Fuel at 10 cents right now is a blessing.
Yep. So. And there's still people that are going to turn and run when you try and tell them.
Well, it's because they look at T-bill in this liquidity pool through the knowledge that they currently have, and that's the knowledge in that they have in the traditional finance and traditional money markets, and T-bill's not. It's not that. It's not traditional in any sense of the word, and we have to keep that in. We have to keep that in mind. What's different about this, and how does it work differently? And those that understand that will sleep better at night. In fact, be happy that we're having a contraction rebase because it means I'm going to get more T-fuel. Is what that means. So.
Yeah. And right
now, T-fuel is what to be looking at.
Yep. And right now, the amount that I am receiving each day in T-bill, and you're receiving a similar amount. If T-fuel just goes from the current price of 10 cents to 20 cents, it's going to double the rewards that we get on a daily basis.
Right.
If it goes to $1, the rewards that we're receiving on a daily basis is going to go up tenfold.
Right.
So as Degard likes to say, it's a wonderful thing.
Right. And understanding T-bill and how the rebase system works and how it's different is the key to having a little peace about things whenever prices are changing, going up and down, which is what they're going to do. So,
yep. Remember the roller coaster analogy.
Well, it's going to happen.
Yep. A roller coaster wouldn't be any fun if there weren't some hills and valleys, huh?
Well, they wouldn't call that a roller coaster. They'd call that a kiddie ride.
That's right.
I was on one of those trains at the zoo, with my kids.
Yeah. So. Gotta love it.
Yep.
So even though there's appears to be a lot of blood in the streets right now in the market, I'm still laughing, because I think it's it's a great opportunity to be able to get more T-fuel or or theta, either one.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just looking at that this morning. Do I buy more theta or do I buy more T-fuel? Because I've got limited funds. I mean, like everybody else, you got to make decisions, and which one do I want to buy right now? And so,
well, with the ratio right now being 19-1, at 20-1, basically investing in either one is, it's half a dozen, 1/6 of the other. But when the ratio starts going above 20-1 or below 20-1, then it's definitely one is better than the other as far as investing.
Well, you have to. I make that decision based on where I think the ratio is going to be in the future.
Right.
And I can make a case based on our same discussion about USDC and a T-bill liquidity pool, which is going to drive up that in itself is going to drive up, I believe, the price of T-fuel, which means that ratio is going to come down between T-fuel and theta. And where it's 19 to 1 today, I can very well see where it could be, 10 to 1 pretty easily. Therefore, buying T-fuel would be the way to go, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I think the ratio is going to be less than that, actually. I think it's very possible that the ratio between theta and T-fuel is probably, or T-fuel and theta, is probably going to be closer to 1 to 1 at some point. And then we might see it spread back out again. But what's it going to take for theta to go to that $1,000 you mentioned earlier? Well, it's going to take mass adoption. It's going to take people understanding what theta is and catching on to the fact that this is basically the new internet, right? It's what everybody has to have in order to run their Guardian node or their validator node, and people going out and purchasing that theta they need to run those nodes, which means the price, what they earn, if they're running these nodes, they're going to earn T-fuel. And so if the price of T-fuel is 10 cents and they're earning, a couple of T-fuel a day, well, they're not excited about that, and they're not excited about buying more and starting up more nodes, right?
Right.
They're earning 10, 20 cents a day. Oh, so what? I can't even buy a Coke with that. But what if the price ratio changes, and that is the price of T-fuel goes shooting up to that dollar we're talking about, and the price of theta stays more or less constant or the same, so that we get to the point where we're 10 to 1 or 2 to 1. That's what it'd be if it stayed the same right now. If theta being $2 and T-fuel being 10 cents and had a 10x move, so it'd go to $1, it'd be a 2 to 1 ratio. But now running that node is going to earn you, even if you're still just getting 1 or 2 theta a day, you'd be getting from $1 to $2 a day. Well, now I can buy a Coke with that. And you go, well, you know what?
You meant to
if I
say
had more
T-fuel a day.
Yes. Thank you. And so you can see where the price of T-fuel leading theta, because of liquidity pool usage, could change the dynamics for theta, causing theta to be more desired to run a node to earn more T-fuel. Because how can you get more more T-fuel? The way you get more T-fuel is to earn it by running a Guardian node, because we know there's a 9 or 9.5% inflation. So new T-fuel is being minted annually, or actually daily, to pay Guardian node and validator node stakers. And so if the price of T-fuel and T-fuel gets so locked up, 100% gets locked up into a liquidity pool, then how do you get new new T-fuel? By buying theta and staking it to the Guardian node. And that's how you're going to earn more T-fuel or be able to get your hands on it. So I very much...
so that drives the demand for theta.
For theta, exactly.
I hadn't thought.
And so
I was asking myself the question, what has to happen to increase the demand for the theta token I mean, right now you can buy T Fuel or T Drop. You don't have to. There's unless you want to run a validator or a Guardian node, you don't have to own any Theta. So
Right.
what is the reason that will drive the demand to own Theta? And you just hit it on the head. I hadn't even
Well, that's
thought
only
about
one
that.
thing.
Yeah,
That's only one thing that can drive the price of Theta. The other thing that's going to drive the price of Theta is mainnet 4.0 or meta chain, the 4.0 meta chain. And the 4.0 meta chain for, let's say, Bullet or D Theta Phi or G Pool or any of these other chain or other uh, projects that want to run their project on the Theta network because of its increased speed and functionality, the lower cost of the transactions, all the positives about why you would want to run a project on the Theta uh, chain, the Theta network. They have to have Theta and stake that Theta in order to have their project on the Theta network. And so as new projects come along,
well, on a sub chain.
Right, but they have to stake to the Theta network.
Right. But
And they have to have Theta to stake to that Theta network.
the speed for their particular project is going to be geared to them running it on a sub chain rather than the main chain, because they will get better performance operating a sub chain. So, they're going to
Right, but
want
eventually
they're going to
it all
want a
comes to the
sub
main
chain.
chain.
Yeah, but they're going to want a sub
Mm-hmm.
chain, and in order to get one, they are going to have
Mm-hmm.
to buy Theta and stake it.
Right. Now, we don't know how much they have to have
Right.
in order to stake. We don't, I'm going to assume it's basically the same as a Guardian node. They would need to have 1,000 Theta to stake. But this is infinite. This has the possibility of being infinite number of subchains, right? There's no maximum number of subchains. So it could be that they must lower the number at some point. If they want to keep putting on new subchains, there has to be the Theta out there they can get their hands on, because new Theta is not going to be minted, period.
Correct.
Thus causing um, a demand and driving up. That's how I think we get to that $1,000 price or 3,000 that I've heard from Bix or other people. I don't know. I don't know where it's going, but how can you get to that elevated number? Well, there's a number of ways. Just the dollar being devalued, which we know is going on, is going to drive up the price. Not because Theta did anything greater. It's just because it takes more of those dollars. The value of the dollar is going down, so it takes more of them to do the same thing. In this case, buy more Theta or buy more T Fuel. The fact that we have available supply right now out in the market is a gift. It's a gift. We can go to Simple Swap, just swap whatever for some T Fuel or for some Theta, put that in there and let her go.
Oh yeah.
I have seen. It wasn't too long ago. I went to Simple Swap and was going to swap for some T Fuel, and it wasn't available.
Yeah. It seems to be
Yeah,
regularly available now, is what I've
it
noticed.
is right now.
Every
It is right
time
now.
every time I've gone there, it's there. It's available.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right.
Right.
It wasn't that long ago where it might be available, but then again, it might not be available, and you'd have to wait a
Right.
couple of days and try again.
Right.
But now it seems like it's readily available. But yeah, I think I see explosive growth coming for both Theta and T Fuel in the next few
Well,
years.
which would be why we're so bullish on the project overall,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah,
we see that growth. Um, Again, people need to do their own homework. They need to figure out, do they think there's explosive growth? Is this something they want
Oh
to?
yeah,
And can
this
they
is
put money into it and let it sit there and ride for, a couple of years?
yep. This is
That's
definitely
another
not
question.
financial advice. This is just our
No.
opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, the people that are getting hurt right now are those that have to sell right now
Yep.
because the price is down.
Yep.
But people that don't have to sell right now, you still got your T-fuel. You still got your T-bill if you're in the liquidity pool. It's still earning APR every day. And it's not as much as it was yesterday, but it's still earning. It's still growing.
Well,
And
just
that's the way I see it.
people may be getting confused when you say APR. What you're saying is the daily T-bill payout resulting
Right.
from your APR, whatever it may be. If you don't have
Right.
a multiplier, it's 50%. If you have a multiplier, it's more. But
Yeah.
when you say APR, you're referring to the T-bill payout that occurs every day at 0
Okay.
UTC.
Right. So, exactly. Thank you for clarifying. So that's just the way I see it. I think there's, and I truly believe. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be putting. Today, I will have more funds going into the liquidity pool than. So with more funds going in, it means I believe in it, and I believe it's going to go up. I wouldn't do it otherwise. So.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's going up tomorrow or next week, or it might be next year. Again, I think the broader you start looking at the broad markets, to go back to where we started, you start at the broad market. What's the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P? What are they doing? And if they're going down, that's a good indication about where the crypto market's going to go, where Bitcoin's going to go. And if Bitcoin's going down, that's a good indication about where Theta's going to go, because they haven't broken loose yet from being tied there. Everybody sees that in traditional finance and traditional sense of the word. Everybody sees all those things tied together. That's a tech, that's tech. Well, all tech's going down. Okay, I'm selling, and tech goes down. So that's what happens. It's all tied to the larger market, which is tied to our banking system. So
Well,
the Fed right now is raising rates, and raising rates is stopping loans. If you stop loan creation, then you stop money creation. That's how money is created, and therefore, without new money creation, you don't have new investment. Without new investment, things don't go up; they go down in the broad market.
I think
And
that
then-
this is a great time to be in crypto, and I'm just noticing that the 10-minute average price for Theta, or for T-Fuel rather, is 9.9 cents. So it's dropped below 10 cents.
Yeah.
So
And I think we're going to see a continual drop. Actually, I'm buying more today, even though I think it's going to go down more.
yep.
And it's because I don't know where the bottom is, and I'm going to continue to buy. I loved it when it was. I first bought my first T-Fuel at 5 cents. I bought more at 8. I bought more at 15. I bought more at 30. I mean, I've been buying more as it was going up. I didn't buy any at 68, but I was buying as it was going up. And now that it's going down, I'm going to be buying more as it goes down. What's the lowest it could go to? I don't know. Back to a penny?
Yeah.
It could.
Anything's possible, and
So,
these are times that we never thought we'd see. But
Right.
when I see prices like this, it makes me happy.
Well,
and
eh,
because it means I can get more with my
Exactly.
limited resources. I can get more.
and again, you get back to the ratio. I was thinking about the ratio between T-Fuel and T-bill. Now it's about 9 to 1. That ratio is getting better. If it does go down to a penny, it'd be 100 to 1.
Yeah.
Right? I'd be getting 100 T-Fuel for every T-bill. in the evening whenever I, um, convert my T-bill into T-fuel. So, you know, if you're just looking at it from I'm trying to accumulate more T-fuel, I'll be able to accumulate more T-fuel if the price of it goes down. So,
Yep. Well,
I don't wish for it to go down. I know it's hurting other people, but if it does go down, I'm gonna take advantage of that.
yep. Well,
So,
it's only hurting the people that made the sad mistake of putting money that they couldn't afford to lose into it,
hmm
and now they're having to try and pull it out for fear that it's going to go even lower. It's like that's why you don't ever put money in that you can't afford to lose, because you just don't know what's going to happen. Don't put money in that you
exactly.
need to pay the rent 2 weeks from now or pay the mortgage 2 weeks from now. Never, ever, ever do that.
Right. Or that you need a year from now even. I mean,
Well, yeah.
if you can't afford to lose it, if you're retiring in a few years and put money in there that you need 2 years from now because you're going to retire, maybe not a good idea. But I
Right.
don't know where you put it. That becomes the bigger question. Well, so where do I put it? Well, all traditional markets are going down right now. When's that going to stop? I don't know.
Yep.
So where do I put it? I don't know. All the ETFs. You can put it in an ETF. They're going down right now. Oh, well, I could put it into silver. Well, the price of silver is going down right now. Oh, again, it gets back to where things are going in the future, and having a good balanced portfolio where you kind of spread it out. Right now, it just means you're spread it out unless you know how to play the opposite side of this, which is shorts and that kind of thing, which takes a sophisticated investor to be able to do that. And again, we said earlier, there are people who know how to do this, who know how to make money when the market goes up and how to make money when the market goes down. So if you know how to do that, you can play the opposite side, would be the shorts. Shorting, and there's ETFs set up for shorting. There's all kinds of things set up for shorting. The problem with shorting is the potential for unlimited loss.
Yep.
So unlimited loss is not something I want to be a part of.
No. No.
So so I don't short. I don't do that, and I'm not playing that side. I'm a long person. I like we've said before. I like to find something that I've done some work and research on, understand the potential and understanding the problems, the risk, and then make an investment and watch and see if the marks are hit that we expect. So they're hitting those marks, then I continue to stay, continue to believe and hold on and hold on for dear life.
Yep. Yep.
So I continue to do that, and I'm doing that with Theta, and I believe it so much now I'm investing some more. So
Yep. I appreciate the time that you've taken for this morning to put this video together, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up here, and then check and make sure we got a recording, and then we can talk some more offline if you have time.
yeah. Okay. All right.
Well, that's a wrap for this presentation, so cue the music. If you enjoyed the video, then hit that thumbs up for me, and I'll see you in the next video.